that we have two distinct governments that are a check against, to protect the rights of the people, all these different things. But how many people know this anymore?
Well, I don't even think the people that we're electing know what
No, they don't.
this says.
They don't.
But they'll swear on a Bible.
Yep. Yep. Same ones will swear an oath to God in front of a minister with a woman and then cheat on her.
Exactly.
See, oaths don't mean what they used to mean. They should. But it's because we're destroying honor.
And in a convention of the states, who would be the decision makers?
The delegates that are elected to go to those state conventions, and those state conventions that come together, the 2/3 of those state conventions, what they decide is what would be. Go ahead.
But in the convention, you got the bad actors doing the convention.
Well, see, this is part of the problem, right? What does it take to get elected as a delegate to that state convention? Well, pretty much the same people that know how to work the system to get elected as legislators, congressmen, and senators, right? So we think a lot of times that, well, the convention of the state's going to save us because we're going to get these people that are going to go vote. Well, why don't we just do it in Congress? Well, because those people never vote for term limit themselves. Okay, well, who are the people that are most likely going to get elected as delegates to the state conventions? The same people. The same people.
Herein lies the problem.
Right? So there's not anything out there that is the magic bullet. This is what we got to understand. There is no magic bullet. We're so conditioned in the 21st century to fast food, fast medicine, fast entertainment, fast everything, fast life. Yeah, that we think that there's a simple solution to something. You take a 20-year-old kid out and go, yeah, you're going to work hard, or we're going to give you 15 bucks an hour, 20 bucks an hour, you're going to work hard, and you're going to do this, and then at the end of the day, you can look back and see most of them are going, oh, I'm not going to do that. We've got a generation that won't do that anymore, right? It takes hard work. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. But anything that, what was it that Patrick Henry said, or I'm sorry, it was Thomas Paine who said in The Crisis, he said, heaven knows how to put a just price on heaven. Hell's easy. Heaven's hard. So it's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. It's going to be real hard. But the harder the job, the more glorious the creation at the end. The easier the job, the more steaming pile of crap you're going to have at the end. So we got to get out of this ideology that somehow we've got some easy solution. There's no easy solution. It's going to take study, it's going to take understanding, it's going to take people getting out of their comfort zone. It's going to take people knocking doors for the people that they know are good people that need to be elected. It's going to take people going to their township meetings, going to their county meetings, going to their school board meetings. Well, I don't have kids in the school. I don't care if they're still robbing you. You understand the crap that they're putting in your school? How they're sexualizing children? How they're grooming them? And they're doing it with your money. I don't know about you, but I don't like my money being used like that. Whether I got kids in that school or not. I don't want my money being used like that. Especially when you're taking it from me at the barrel of a gun, threatening me with my liberty and my property if I don't give it up. I don't like my money going to Ukraine. What are we going to do about it?
Well, that was something else. Well, just thinking, going to this, having us go out and us as the United States go to other countries and try to tell them how they should run their countries and all that.
Violates the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
Yep.
So, how is it that, and I can see where other countries would get an attitude toward us.
Yep.
And it isn't us.
No, it is. See, the people in the Middle East understand we the people as the government better than we do. So when we spend money when we give Mubarak $80 million to have rape squads and acid torture chambers and pull people out of their houses without any due process, they see it as us that gave that guy the money to do that to them, because they believe in we the people better than we do. It's easy for us to sit back and go, oh, it's that federal government, I didn't vote for that. Well, did you even vote? Well, no, because my vote doesn't count. What's the Rush song? If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. It is we the people. You want to know the problem with the government? First 3 words of the Constitution. We the people. We have forgotten who we are and what we're supposed to do. And even if we realize it, we're too ignorant of how it's supposed to work to even do anything about it. It starts with education. How much of this stuff that I'm teaching, is it some of it the first time you've ever heard it? Be honest. Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Why? Why is it the first time you've heard it? How much money have you paid in taxes for public school? Why is this the first time you've heard it?
Good question.
How much money have you paid to Comcast and all these other places for all this entertainment, and this is the first time you've heard this? That's what we got to be asking ourselves. So yeah, those people in those other countries that were bombing, that were trying to do regime change in,
Yeah.
that were setting up their leaders through our deep state CIA and all that. And of course, you're going to have the Republicans going, oh, John, we're keeping the world safe. No, you're not. Safe for whom?
Exactly.
When you violate principles, there's no excuse. The ends don't justify the means. Never have. But yet we've got good people that go, I'm a principled person, you vote for me. You don't have the first clue what principles are. No. If you're not going to follow the supreme law of the land, the Constitution, and I don't want to hear all this legal, well, the Supreme Court didn't say that it was unconstitutional. I don't care what the Supreme Court said. I don't care. They're 1/3 of the product of the Constitution, 1/3 of the product of the contract. They don't get to say what is and isn't, especially when they're doing case precedent law. Well, we didn't argue that before, so that stands. Yes, but we've got all these facts of this individual case. Well, we don't want to hear that because we've already made a decision 40 years ago. Well, guess what? You're getting paid today. How about making one today? It's the people that decide. We've got to start taking our right place. Lincoln said the people are the masters of the law. The people. We've just been horrible masters. Right? Same thing happened in Rome. Yeah, I got a pretty comfortable life. I'll just pay the government to do what I should be doing. It's my duty. Why? Because I'm lazy.
Another question for you. The January 6th thing that went on,
Mm-hmm.
I understand you were there.
Yep.
Okay. And why, I've got my own idea of why it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Why did it happen?
Why did it
I
happen?
know what you say the news. and all
Because
that.
it was an inside job. It was set up by the FBI. It was set up by McConnell and Pelosi. There were bad actors there that were paid to do some bad things. And just like people in a big group, it's called herd mentality.
Yep.
If you can get something going on that you've already paid for and get people to do certain things, you might be able to trick a few more people into going along. Let me elaborate just a little bit. That gas that they were hitting everybody with, right there with their own officers standing there,
Yep.
that violates crowd control 101. I'm going to tell you, you never gas your own officers. Does that make sense? Why would you gas your own officers that don't have masks and make them potential hostages? That goes against all emergency management. Goes against all emergency management training. So why were they gassing their own officers? Because they weren't using real gas. Most of that stuff that they were doing down front there with the people was Hollywood gas. Now, why would you use Hollywood gas? Now, why would you do that? Because if you can get people upset enough and get them to do something they normally wouldn't do, then you can go, oh my gosh, look at this. See, they had the narrative set up that it was an insurrection before we even showed up that morning. Nancy Pelosi's daughter was there doing a documentary. And now that we're getting all the information out, they were talking insurrection before the people even showed up. Isn't that interesting? We saw police officers holding doors open and inviting people in. That doesn't sound like much of an insurrection, does it?
No.
We saw people in tweed suit coat jackets handing bats out the window to people that were wearing backpacks and dressed like Antifa. Yeah, that sounds like a bunch of conservatives. There were people that were standing up trying to stop people that were causing violence and mayhem. But you didn't see that on CNN, did you? Because that wouldn't fit the narrative. Why do you think they're so angry at Tucker Carlson for showing video that goes against exactly what their narrative was? Because it's not about the truth. It's not about the truth. It's about what we want the people to believe about what happened on January 6th. And you know what? There's even good conservative people that are stupid enough to listen to CNN and still go, well, I don't care, John. That was wrong. Okay. You know why Ashley Babbitt was killed? Never in training do you teach your officers to shoot at your other officers, do you? You just don't do that. If I've got somebody doing something felonious right here, and I've got a gun and you're my officer behind them, do I ever teach to shoot at that with my officer there? No, that's forbidden. Ask anybody that's had that training. That's forbidden. You don't shoot towards your own officers, do you? So explain to me why there was 3 people in riot gear coming right up behind Ashley Babbitt, and they were all standing there. She presented no threat, especially if you follow the force continuum that we teach all officers. There was no threat. But yet you see him step forward and go bang and shoot her right in the neck. You know why? Because nobody was going through those doors. Even though there was a couple people there trying to spur it on to get people to go through the doors. And the people weren't going to go through the doors because they weren't going to break it down and go through. So what did they have to do? Well, let's shoot a pretty girl. That'll make them angry. You're going to see most of everything that happened there. Look, during the investigation, during the hearings, DC police said, oh, we didn't know anything. The FBI knew that this was going to happen, and they didn't share it with us. That's a lie. One of the guys that went with us took his daughter because they were having a prayer on the east side. And they got done with the prayer, and they were coming back. One of the officers standing there said, hey, don't go that way. They said, why? He said, you see the guys with the backpacks on, the MAGA hats backwards? He said, they're Antifa. They're getting ready to start some trouble right there. You got your daughter with you. He said, go around this other way to get around on the other side. Now, how is it that the street cop knew that? How is it that the street officer knew that? when they sat right in front of Congress and said, well, the FBI knew, but they didn't tell us. Do you understand chain of command? Do you understand how information goes down? So how is it this guy knew, but nobody in the middle knew? It's inconceivable, isn't it? It was a setup. It was an inside job. And it wasn't just the Democrats that did it. It was McConnell. It was the neoconservatives of the right that helped in that whole thing. The American public hasn't been told the truth, not even close to what really went on. I used to teach anatomy of a setup for the state.
This was as a result of, in fact, and the truth of it is that the election was robbed from Trump, correct?
No, look, I'm not going to make the statement that the election was robbed. Here's what I'm going to say.
I can't see how somebody that was
Here's-
staying in their basement and not going out.
Yeah, everybody, look, everybody can be pretty confident that Sleepy Joe did not get 81 million votes. So you're telling me he got more than Obama?
Oh,
It didn't
yeah.
happen.
Oh yeah, that's what he said.
Okay, so my thing is this though. They all want us to go, oh, he was robbed. It was stolen. I don't know. I don't have any evidence to that. I know I've got probable cause and reasonable suspicion. I've got a gut feeling.
Exactly, I do too.
But my problem is, if we got a gut feeling, why did they fight so hard to even investigate?
Yeah. We're not doing
When we said that Trump was colluding with Russia, we spent $41 million
Exactly.
in 3 years to investigate. But we said we think there's a problem with the election. Oh no, we can't investigate that. That gives me even more pause to go, why couldn't we investigate that again? We just spent $41 million on something that the FBI all knew it was a hoax, knew that it was total garbage, but we had the time to investigate that with $41 million. You see what I'm saying? I'm not going to say that the election was stolen. What I'm going to say is there were some huge inconsistencies that all I was asking for, and most of the people at January 6th were asking for, was an investigation. They were asking Pence to do his constitutional duty and say, look, this doesn't seem right. I want this to go back and come back. We want to make sure that this is right. In fact, that's what's in front of the Supreme Court. The Congress had an obligation to investigate and didn't. Right? So let's be very careful about the words we use and what's being said. I'm not going to say that the election was stolen. I'm going to say there were some huge inconsistencies, and I don't feel right about it. And I would like to have an investigation just to make sure. Because I'm also here to tell you that the Republicans cheat just like the Democrats do, and the 2000 election was cheated as well. And Bush did that.
That was a Bush-Gore deal. Yeah.
So, I'm not standing here saying I believe in one side over the other. I'm not here saying that Republicans should always get elected. I'm here saying that the people should decide, and I don't trust the left or the right at this point in time. I don't trust the FBI. I don't trust the Department of Homeland Security. And I certainly don't trust NSA or CIA. If it's an alphabet soup agency, I got nothing for it, because it's not in Article 1, Section 8, Clause 1 through 18 anywhere. That's what I'm saying I have a problem with. Yep. I hope that answers your question.
You're verbalizing what we think. I don't think there's anybody here thinks any different. Honestly, that's why we're here.
It's real easy to go, oh, it was stolen. What's the evidence you have? Well, I don't have any. Well, why don't you? Well, because we didn't investigate. See, I'm a little different kind of cat. I don't think it feels right. I want an investigation so I can say whether it was or wasn't.
Yeah.
But I want a real investigation. But who's gonna do that? Go ahead.
What are your deeper feelings about the 2,000 mules?
2,000 mules, I think there's a lot of truth to it. Is that how it was completely done? No. Here's how I think it was completely done. It was completely done because we didn't follow Madison's plan on how an electoral college is supposed to work. We didn't represent each republic.
Right.
If we had represented each republic in the electoral college the way our founders set it up, Article 2, Section 1, Clause 2, we wouldn't have to worry about Dominion. We wouldn't have to worry about 2,000 mules. We wouldn't have to worry about COVID, which was engineered. It was a bioweapon.
Right.
And I'm not so sure that it wasn't done specifically to do what we did in 2020.
Control.
Yeah. But how were they able to do it? Because all of us have sat like a bump on a log too long. Look, learn from history. Get me once, shame on you. Get me twice, shame on me. As for me, I'm not going to let it happen again. I'm going to be vocal. I'm going to be indignant. And I'm going to demand and fight for my rights. Period. Now people go, oh, that sounds violent.
Tongue lashing.
It is what it is. I will never attack an aggression. But I will defend and use everything I can to defend. And that I will. Because it's only moral if it's in defense. It's never moral in aggression. Now,